3 years ago.
2 years.
2 years.
And as far as the seating, how do we deal with that, Peter? As far as the seating, is that the same
Number of total seats?
number of total seats that includes the outside seating or? For their establishment, parking is not an issue because there are no requirements for parking on the first floor on Main Street. Right, Peter? That's right. There's no, right. I mean,
I
let's
think
go across the board.
there was an email that was passed around. I don't know if you had a chance to see it. Was that email passed around today for the other business owner?
Did we email it out
Yeah,
today?
yeah.
This
So
This is the one?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
So have you guys seen this or no?
No.
So let me read it to you. The DRB will be reviewing this issue tomorrow, 7:30. They will then make recommendation. Oh, hold on. Oh, there it is. As the owners of Downtown Window and Design would like to convey our concerns on the developing parking situation in downtown Manchester. As you are aware, the owner of the Green Mountain Villages shopping area has instituted paid parking for a large section of this parking lot. The parking lot for Walgreens and M&T and the Community Bank are for the use of their employees and their customers only. Also, the newly created parking lot behind M&T at times is fully utilized. We believe these factors will create increased pressure on the few parking spaces on Main Street, especially during high tourism. Since the COVID pandemic, our neighbors Christos has set up outdoor seating outside their property, which required the sidewalk to be diverted to those parking spaces. Due to these changed circumstances, we feel the time has come to visit some of the accommodations made in the past.
CT came to us. First of all, we let her use the dumpster, say there's no room for a dumpster. We let them use our property, for a dumpster, broken garbage. She came to us, asked for parking a couple of years ago, whatever. Since Austin's my neighbor next door, most of the parking belongs to him, actually, because he rented the building to us. Which by the son owns, you know. Park there. We will tell you move your car or do this, and we told her, you want to park, go ahead, park.
How many,
It would be a good neighbor.
To interject that, we had another board member from another committee make comment who has a business in town right on that same street. Comment that, it has kind of created a little bit of congestion. I think his words were congestion or was kind of, do you remember what the words were, Eileen?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what he said. I think it was the same, issue about parking in front.
Right.
And I don't know how many parking spots are used for the outdoor seating.
Two.
So two are blocked off then for,
Yes.
okay. And
I thought his concern was the congestion that it creates on that funnel as you come right into your area and it kind of closes the sidewalk down a bit.
You know, I'll tell you one thing, I don't know if you've been there in the afternoons, the summertime. And some of the board, members of the board, select board, they can tell you, they drive through there sometimes 60, 70 miles per hour, believe it or not. And without little flower thing, whatever it is, it slows them down, believe it or not. You can talk to those guys.
I think the gentleman that we were talking to was more speaking on the sidewalk, not on the road.
What congestion is that? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen it, but I know that I'm just bringing up a concern that was
Yes, sir.
brought up by him.
We never had congestion, people walk freely, go by. They go by their business, his business, my
I was gonna
business.
say, we had our tables outside for the first time last year, and one of my personal favorite things to do is sit out there. And I've never once seen any kind of congestion from the ramp or the park.
I can't imagine that two spaces, that they.
It's not the parking. It's not the parking that we're talking, at least not that person.
I think that even, yeah, that was,
That-
That was an email from
That was
another.
a
That was a separate
Separate.
email.
Congestion,
yeah.
Yeah,
People aren't diverted into the road to get through, right? Is
No.
that Chris's question? Okay.
yeah,
I think,
it's just as wide as the sidewalk area that they
Okay.
have if they didn't have.
It's wider.
Yeah, it's actually wider than the sidewalk area,
okay.
and I've never noticed anyone having any difficulty, even when there's a lot of people walking on the sidewalk.
Now, is there an opportunity in between the buildings to set up tables?
Little alley or anything? No, nothing there.
There's nothing there?
No. Okay.
Well, like I said, the main thing I had was just the safety, but if those bollards are, or the cement
Yeah.
bollards are pretty car-proof, then
yeah, something's slowing down, actually, John O'Keefe, suggested that first, and they slow down, with that. You know, car goes by 20 miles per hour. And those strengthens they're safe.
and it doesn't, the new, or the sidewalk that you made, or the walkway you made around the sidewalk, that's not any wider than the
No,
car
parking,
car stripe would park. Okay.
But that area is wider than the sidewalk itself.
Yes, right.
So it allows for more pedestrian traffic and because of the flower planters that they put up, cars literally slow down. I think it's helpful for more than they would have, yes, more than they would have.
Well, I guess that would lead to, in your time, have you had any accidents out there?
No.
Okay, so I don't know that the bollards help or not. So I appreciate what you're saying, but the bottom line is the bollards really haven't done anything. I mean, it certainly protects the people sitting there, but if you haven't had any accidents there since you've been there, I don't know that that's a reasonable expectation to kind of say that that's protecting pedestrians. I mean, it should be.
You can't say that it has to be.
No, I agree, but if you haven't had anything there, I mean, but if you have, and you guys been there a long time. I mean, you haven't had any accidents out there,
Having tables out on the street, it brings
100%.
Yeah.
certain beauty to it. You want people coming to Main
But we
Street.
want safety,
But
safety.
I mean, years ago, back when that was a flourishing street, you want people coming in. And then back right after I left from high school, going off to college, it was a dying street. I mean, Main Street was desolate, and then it's now coming back. And we want to bring it back to Manchester, so in my mind, a lot of what the town wants is people, foot traffic, people sitting, eating outside. Yeah, and we have a lot of volunteer street eating outside, walking outside, so I kind of think that's what we want to bring to Manchester in a way, right? And I think Main Street is kind of a good place to start doing that. And I mean, if we're prohibiting people from sitting outside, I think that's kind of negating that, not doing that, right?
Expectation when people come into town.
Yeah.
That anywhere you go, there's always outdoor dining, so having outdoor dining available, especially between Austin and Christos, that's what they expect. Ty Basil across the street, the street, yeah, it comes to life at dinner.
Even the guy across the street, you have inside the. What's the name of it? Misty. The other side. Outside,
Mhm.
people like it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the general consensus is outdoor seating is
Yeah.
definitely the way to go. I
We
don't,
want this town to flourish. We want to help it in every way we can,
Yep,
not just
understood.
benefit ourselves. We're one here in a community, right?
Billy had his hand up online.
Oh. Billy?
Billy, do you have a question?
Can you tell if he's muted?
Good board.
He's not muted.
The one thing I would, we will probably recommend the select board though, just have it for the file, probably a picture of, or a diagram, a picture of how it is now. Just so down the road, and to be fair to everybody, because we're gonna ask everybody that comes to us, whether it's a small thing or a big thing, just so it's fair for everybody. And we're gonna require just a picture just to go in with the file. We don't need it now. You can, again, but just.
If you go sit up and we'll take a picture and bring it.
No, I have the pictures every year.
maybe.
That'd be perfect.
You just want to make sure it stays consistent.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're going to ask everybody to do that. So just to be fair to everybody, even though you've had it before, it's nice to just have a picture. So we got it in the file. This is what or this is what they approved. And if something changes, just so we've got something to go by, if we add seats or add tables or move the sidewalk or whatever, at least we got an idea where we started, where it could or might not go. Well, not any other questions?
No.
Okay.
Where, you know, if those tables, believe it or not, people from Austin store, or her store, Tide Basil, people, they take out food and come across the street.
Oh, yeah, no,
It's not me. We don't tell them to get out.
I've seen it, I've been there.
Yeah.
No.
yeah.
No, okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up, Main Street Decor LLC, 4919 Main Street. And what's that? That one is. What is, I don't, shaved ice card?
Shaved ice cart.
Shaved
That's
ice
gonna be
cart.
out front of them.
You should have, I think that has the platinum.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Slide everything. Yep.
Yeah, that's.
Photos too, yeah.
Good job. That's good.
Yeah.
There's diagram. Yeah. Good.
Very comprehensive.
The only thing I had a question with that one too, is just going down there, and I don't know if that's more of a town thing or you. But were you, because it is on the sidewalk.
No,
Well, it's next to the building, but you gotta walk around it.
no.
No?
It actually doesn't reach where the bricks are.
So if you-
It's concrete.
If you, actually, that's right there, you want me to go there and trace?
Is this one?
It's a 6-foot walkway, cart to the curb. Maybe I was looking at the wrong one when I went down there.
The sidewalk is here. Where we have the cart is on, it
Oh,
is
okay.
on the right of way. But it is set back, nothing is within the, is in the sidewalk itself.
Okay,
Okay.
And we try to direct the line and traffic of people to come this way up against the building.
Is that 6-foot dimension, is that from the curb line to the cart itself?
Correct. That's 9 feet.
9 feet.
9 feet.
So the sidewalk actually goes this way and you have enough.
Is that the sidewalk that kind of goes around a corner to get back on the sidewalk? Or am I thinking of a different building?
If you had another image. Wait,
What's that?
This one?
no.
You just tell me when to stop scrolling.
One more. No, I guess not.
Is it this one? Is this the one you're looking for where someone's sitting in front of the cart? It could be the last one. Alana.
Yeah,
Second
that
one.
actually was the one.
Okay, all right, I'll get that.
There,
Right
yeah.
There you go.
That's
This
one.
is the sidewalk.
Yep.
Okay,
So this is still the right of way. The cart sits well inside up against the building. So there's no impediment to the sidewalk itself.
yeah.
You've got a couple years now, right? Hasn't it been there?
Good here.
Is it third year? Third?
Well, this was the one Pete, is this the one I went and looked at, and I think maybe you talked to Jeff about, was there a spot here where there used to be a tree? And when you walked it, man,
I don't think it's there.
There's
It
a
was-
lamp post.
there was a lamp post or a tree that there was a whole,
Free, but I don't think it was right there.
okay,
On my side of the site.
okay. One then.
So I guess in all cases, and it should apply to everybody, trash receptacles are available for everybody, right, outside there?
Secret research.
And they're empty, and they're empty every night. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just not enough, there's a, I think there's a garbage can in front of the church. Or it's
Yeah.
and that, yeah, everybody.
That's how come I'm just thinking that you guys probably offer stuff outside as well.
No cleaning for the end of the night, they clean, we
Yeah.
clean.
Yeah.
That's what this stuff for us.
Yeah, well, great.
That's what-
No, no questions. I like your handwriting.
Okay, next up, Maple Reserve, 4927 Main Street. Let's get that. Don't see it? There's no picture
I
for
think we have a diagram. Do we have a diagram?
You know what, I do apologize, I made serve for a living and I've been stuck in my favorite house.
Sure.
But I am happy to get a diagram drawn up for you guys. Our two tables are much smaller than everybody else's. They go right up against the building. You know, we have plenty of space on the sidewalk. That doesn't interfere with the sidewalk. And it's only, I think it's total 4 chairs. And we take them in and out every night.
Yeah, again, if you could bring a picture to the select board, or
Yeah.
just so we've got a copy of it for that.
No, no.
Next up, Jamaican Cuisine Food Truck, 159 Depot Street.
Let's see, Emerald here. No. You don't see him on it?
No.
There's no photos, right?
And again, there's nothing. We've got a description, but no.
There's no diagram, no pictures.
I mean, it's. Anybody here for that one or no?
The difference with this one is because this is a food truck, these are.
Right, right.
So, I mean, I
But it-
would like to see a diagram.
On this here, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other question I had about this is, it's more than the food truck. So again, for the application of square footage, and maybe Peter, you can help me with this, but the application for the vendor license for square footage, is that including all of this? Or- We're sorry, dear.
if you-
So,
The math is basically, I think it's 119 feet maybe.
okay,
So he's under 150.
he's
but
under the 150, but does that include all of the,
I don't think it does.
Okay.
That's just.
it does
the-
not, okay,
that's
because
just
there's,
the
a
food truck itself.
okay, because I know there's a covered tent seating area.
Yeah.
And then there's a fenced in area for propane and
There's,
trash.
with
and
a,
then
with a
the-
food vendor license, there is no seating allowed. It says it right on the application. So we
Okay,
need to kind of get a diagram and some pictures from him.
okay,
You know, what would be nice on this one though too, Peter, if there must have been, the select board probably did a permit for this one or write-up, no?
Grab the permit.
I'd like to kind of see what was approved previously.
You guys are good.
Okay, good.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
coming in.
Thank
And
you.
the select board at the next meeting will make.
Snap, I have to go.
All right.
No need to,
Yeah,
go
Thank
go
you.
make some pizzas or something.
Uh,
I think it's the application and it just gets approved with a signature on.
That's all it is. So they don't require anything like what we
No,
just
no.
we just get
Well, they,
originally.
it is in the permit application that they need the dimension and whatever. All I'm thinking is we want a little bit more of a plan. So
Well,
they're gonna add
100%.
that to the application. And again, this is all new.
Okay, Is that in the new application then, Tim? Is that
I,
what you mean?
I think that that's what they were going to do.
On the vendor license, it calls for having a diagram of the placement of things.
Okay,
So
okay,
if you flip back to this,
to this, to that, okay.
attached
And,
plot plan,
oh, okay, all right,
attached description, including height, width,
color, that's the one they.
right? All
they
vendors
ignored, yeah.
attach written authorization from the landowner.
So that's Friends of the Sun, is that? Friends of the Sun?
Yep.
Okay, so we're missing a couple.
Well, again,
pages.
this isn't the
Yeah.
same as what you have, though.
Um,
This is application, that's an application. Which are we going?
well, I think this is for
This is an
sidewalk,
old one.
that's for
Oh, that's right.
sidewalk,
Okay.
and this
I'm
is
sorry.
for vendor
Yeah, no, you're
license.
right, you're right.
But
Outdoor
they,
seating.
they do have seating.
Indoor seating.
They have indoor seating, thank you. So should they be filling two out, Peter? Should they be doing the,
With a vendor, since you don't get to have.
oh,
seating.
because you don't get, okay,
Oh,
I
right.
get
So
it, I
that's-
get it, never mind. Okay,
That's
that
different.
makes
So
sense.
we need to kind of draw a
Okay,
hard line between.
So this,
I have other issues to bring up.
Yeah,
We got two propane tanks. Are they secure?
I know.
The fence that's around the
Yeah, I know.
propane tanks is kind of wonky.
it's plastic, it's
Isn't
a
that a
joke.
floodplain?
it is.
Well,
I have to
Yes.
look. It's
But we need to look
pretty
at that.
likely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
think-
think you're right, Kathy.
and the A-frame signs, are they supposed to pull that in? Because
Yes.
that's chained up 24/7, 365.
That's the other thing, that on the vendor license is a checkbox for, will you be using other signs? I think the condition is, if they're using other signs, they have to still go through the registration process online for a temporary sign. I don't think that checkbox allows them to have a sign. I don't know if I want to get into an argument with
Yeah,
establishing, I mean, it's all fuzzy right now.
yeah, I agree.
And I think we need to dial it in as what exactly we're looking for each type of application, whether it's outdoor seating or it's vendor licensing.
Yeah, on the particular one, because I know that they've had their A-frame sign, and they wouldn't know it's an A-frame because it's collapsed and it's kind of chained to something out there. But it's permanent, as far as I'm concerned. It never gets brought in, ever. All winter long, it's been out there. So, I mean, it would be nice to kind of rein that in.
Well, again, we can't even, without a diagram of what he's doing. I think in a recommend, because if we're going to make recommendations on these four issues for the next select board meeting on
Well, if you want to just,
or whatever,
you didn't have enough information on the application to make.
I would just say if everybody's comfortable, Chris, those, you can say we did have safety concerns, if that is the agreement. But they seem to have satisfied them. I would guess if,
Those bolts aren't, they're not anchored in any way, are they?
probably should be anchored
So if a
somehow.
car comes through at 30 miles an hour, it just.
Yeah. So we should maybe just recommend anchoring them at some.
I don't know if that's gonna run afoul with
Yeah,
the Jim Williams. I don't want to make a recommendation he's not gonna be happy with, but
Would it be our recommendation? If they say they don't need it, then that's up to them.
Right.
If we think that they should have something more
secured.
secure, that is just our recommendation. The select board would say, we don't agree with you, or we do agree.
Okay, so that's.
I mean, if that's the consensus of the
Yeah.
board.
Well, I think so. I mean, I appreciate that there's never been an accident there, and you, God forbid, there never will be. But I think, I don't know, did they have Jersey barriers there, though? Were they concrete
If
barriers?
they were a concrete barrier, I'd
I
be
can't
fine with
remember
that.
what they have
I
there.
think
They're
it's.
flower boxes, aren't
Oh,
they?
they're flower boxes? Oh,
Like
There are no
50
Jersey
up.
barriers
oh,
there.
there's nothing.
No,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's the pylon or the bollard is a cement bollard, I guess.
Got it.
We saw those at the Cold Cow Creamery, I think, 2 years ago, which he
Oh,
had.
is that what those?
All those big,
Pink ones.
big,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes, that's right.
Okay.
It didn't raise any,
Yeah.
But they could knock, a person could knock them over.
well, I mean, that's, again, I don't have a lot of experience
I don't know.
with that. I'm sure it's a cone shape, right? So it's heavier on the bottom. It's conceivable that you probably could knock it over.
Oh, yeah.
But that could be our recommendation.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
ultimately, it's up to the select board to make the decision.
Yeah.
And the other two, I don't see any at all,
Right.
except again, make sure we do a plan with them.
I'll see if I can get him to give us a couple
Well,
pictures.
he's gonna provide a photo, said, yeah, he said he
Should
would.
Jeff be involved in, I mean, has he looked at any of this stuff? Is he comfortable? Because I appreciate they're not on the sidewalk, they're still on the right of way.
Right.
So, I mean, if Jeff is okay, I think Jeff should be
On
certain.
that one, yes.
Well, on anyone moving forward. I mean, if people are gonna, we're establishing the
To the
right
right,
of way
yeah.
right now versus the sidewalk.
Yeah,
Well, I think the ordinance does read, nothing should be placed in the right of way.
That's what I figured it would say.
So, but it's, if there's a change, and certainly the select board can make that change to allow.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, as long as Jeff wouldn't need to get in there for any reason at any point, I mean, he doesn't have to worry. I mean, the good thing is that cart could probably be rolled around anyway. It's not a big deal. But I'm just thinking of moving forward on this.
Jeff's concern was primarily for the winter time. I don't want to
Yeah,
put words in
agreed.
his mouth, but he wants to, when it comes to the winter time, he wants to be able to go through it without any
100%.
obstructions, right?
That makes sense.
No planters, no benches, no.
Yeah, I just think for purposes of moving forward, because we are now I mean, this is gonna establish probably more people wanting to venture into this. And it's nice.
well, there is a
not-
limit. Scott said there is a limit. I
So
think he
find out
said,
amount of 6, I think, or 8.
I think it's 6
per
per
class.
category.
Wait, could you say that again? Six per
6 applicants or 6 licenses per
Category. There's
category,
class
for
one and
out,
class
for out,
one, class
Okay.
2.
okay, per
Oh,
category.
in a specific district
Yeah, they're all,
for the town.
Yeah.
yeah,
The
they're all
town?
specific districts.
Also, it's pretty much so. Once you land in, you could potentially be there forever and then block other people.
Yes.
Well,
So is that
well, I think-
transferable?
I think it's an annual renewable. In other words, if there's a problem with parking in a particular location, I think you're able to trump that and say,
Okay.
wait a second here, guys. We can't allow this amount of parking being taken up by this because this store just moved in. They need those spaces.
Got it.
So I think that argument. Yep,
I have a question. That's just for vendors, right? That doesn't apply to outdoor seating?
correct.
Okay.
And
Okay,
then
okay, so
on
it does
the-
not apply to
Jamaican cuisine food truck.
generic.
Got a text
yeah.
from Scott. There's 6 per class.
Oh,
And he wants to emphasize that there's an expiration date of 12/31. So
Is he Wendy?
12/31, they should be conducting business unless they renew that license. So in our exercise here of establishing the rules and regs of and following the applications, we should kind of reinforce that.
okay. So on the, the Jamaican cuisine food truck, I think our recommendation to the select board should be, and it's up to them, but because it is there now and it's been operating, maybe they can give them a so they don't shut them down, maybe they give them a conditional for 30 days or something like that until they come back to us with more information. I mean, I don't want to shut the guy down.
Sure.
But I mean, at least
Give them 30 days.
give them 30 days to come with some more
Well,
information. So-
but how does that fare with the select board's timing? I mean, because,
30 days, 45 days, something. I mean, I don't think we should,
well, I don't think we're gonna shut them down, but I mean, are we in a position to grant an extension?
no, not us.
Oh.
Our recommendation to the select board would probably be,
For him to
rather
provide
than give them a
additional-
full year
Right, no, I
permit.
Yeah.
Give them a 30 or 45-day
To come back
permit, you
before
know,
us.
conditional permit. Coming back to us with information they need.
Yep.
And we're asking not just for more information in terms of a plot drawing and photos, but are we also addressing the seating there then? Is that the
Yeah,
idea?
everything.
Seating,
Everything.
signage.
Signage,
I mean-
okay, all right.
And back to the seating though, this is a real tricky one. Because a vendor is supposed to not have any seating,
Right,
vendors.
right.
Yet,
but yet they do. And
Well,
they're not,
They're not vendors.
they're not vendors.
Vendors.
That's
Okay.
outside seating,
okay,
two separate
okay,
issues.
okay.
So
But for Hound Dog, we did approve.
But again, hang on a second, because the vendors, we didn't approve the picnic tables for the vendor. We approved the picnic tables because
landowner.
the landowner
Yep.
is allowed to have picnic table outside on their property. But the only little bit of issue thinking about it today more is because there are certain places in town that have outside seating
Mm-hmm,
on their property, and they might have a picnic table out there for outside seating.
mm-hmm.
And I don't know how fair that is, because they have to come to us for a permit, and it's part of their restaurant,
Right,
whether it's the water and sewer,
So if it's not on their site plan from the owner, it should be either removed or a new site plan should be made up to allow for that.
I would think something like that, only because, again, I feel bad for certain restaurants that have to want a couple of picnic tables out front, and they have to come to us to get approval for that, and it counts as their seating. I know some places, well, you have to take a few seats out if you're gonna have these seats outside, because it's part of their restaurant.
And the sewer and water allocation.
And water and sewer allocation that gets paid to the town. And I don't think it's fair for the vendors, whether the landowner, whoever says, well, we could put, I think 15 picnic tables out there.
So this is really an attempt to kind of equalize between the bricks and mortar and the vendors.
That's my opinion. I don't feel like it's fair for the restaurants to have to go through this and vendors don't. And maybe people feel, whatever, that's just my opinion. I know what everybody
Yeah,
else.
I mean,
believes.
I agree. I think that there has to be a distinction between the vendors and the stores that are paying for the seats.
And or, again, if this place here, whoever the Jamaican cuisine say, they've got, 2 picnic tables, 4 picnic tables, 6 seats, 8 seats, whatever you want to call it. And nobody's paying water and sewer on
Right,
that.
that's what I'm saying.
And again, it's whoever owns the property we might have to say, well, if you're gonna allow them to have the picnic tables out there. And the same with parking, because if you've got a food truck that takes up, 5 or 10, 15, depends on how busy they are, they could take up 10 parking spaces. So in a restaurant, we go seats, it's 2.5 seats per parking space or whatever. If you've got a food truck that's got 5 cars in their parking lot, in somebody else's parking lot, do they have enough parking? And
Yeah, but we didn't approach it that way with Hound Dog.
we did not. We talked about it, but again, now we're still learning here.
Mm.
So these are things we're
Because, I
thinking
mean,
as we go.
What we
You're
did
correct.
what we did with Hound Dog, we said that the property owner could put up
Yep.
picnic tables.
Yeah.
Didn't even discuss the parking.
That's,
I just
but
want to
again,
be consistent with.
we're
what
being
doing.
consistent, but moving forward, maybe this year it won't happen. Maybe it'll be next
Okay.
year. But I'm just trying to think as we're moving forward, just to come up with ideas. If
I mean,
if
I
we don't
agree.
agree with it, that's fine.
No, I agree.
Whatever everybody agrees
No,
to,
I think
but
it's getting a
just-
little complicated.
Yeah, I get
No, it is. It is.
And the only reason, because I know we talked about picnic tables on green space versus in parking spots. So
Right.
like Hound Dog had tables, but we think they were on the green spaces. And the taco truck had picnic tables, but I think they're on the green spaces. They're not in parking spots. However, there are places that do have, they don't technically have picnic tables, but they have seating and it's in parking spots. So how do we make the differentiation and how do we track this stuff? I don't,
I'm almost wondering if at part of the vendor application, there should be a distinction. I mean, I think that you almost need to provide at least some, I don't care if it's 4 seats or picnic table, if the select board wants to establish how many or one per, what do you call it? One per vendor, so to speak, because I think it's unreasonable to think you're not going to have any seating.
But again, the way it's written in the ordinance now
I understand.
is,
No,
there's none, but the landowner can have as many picnic tables they want.
exactly.
you're right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
that's
you're
why I
right.
think
That's-
that
Yeah,
I
so
think the
it's-
application should maybe be considered. I mean, is the application formed internally in the, or is this something that's established at the
I
board?
think we can make changes to the application. I think Katie made some updates to this beer licensing application. So we could modify that.
But
So that's-
modify the vendor application, but we can't include seating on the vendor because we talked about they can't have seating.
Seating is not allowed under the.
Right,
four vendors.
so we can't add that to the application. We talked about this last month.
Right.
So what is it we would be modifying on the application? Like, what are you thinking of changing?
I think we just adhere to no seating allowed for the vendor license. And if there is, after the inspection, we find that there is seating there,
Right.
that would have to be with the owner to get him for a site plan revisit.
Well, does it make sense to try to integrate it all into a
I'd
single?
like to see it simplified.
I agree. It just seems a little complicated where and I kind of liked where we were at with Down Dog because it did provide at least a picnic table. And it was in green space that was the owner approved. I mean, I don't know that we get carried away with 5, 6, but I think, I don't think it's
There's gotta be a
unreasonable.
number.
Yeah, I don't think it's unreasonable to expect one.
So with a
There's
change,
gotta be a number.
One.
is it a change of
One.
ordinance? The select board would have to change the ordinance. That's, you can make.
That's why I'm thinking out loud now. I mean, does it make sense to kind of integrate that into this? Just to say one table. I mean, or one picnic table, whatever you want to call it, and to keep it kind of consistent, it would be good if it was just a picnic table.
For a green space, not a parking.
Yeah, it's gotta be green space.
So that could be a recommendation to the.
Yeah,
select.
exactly. What do you think, Tim? You don't like
No,
the seating at all?
Well, no, you've got to have something. You got to have a picnic
Does
table.
that put the,
Not according to the ordinance.
does that put them more in competition, Tim, with the bricks and mortar restaurant?
I don't think so.
If you're allowing the seating, I mean, they're getting around it anyway, but.
The reason why
Well, again, you could, if you wanted to write it that way, if you're going to allow, because a restaurant has to pay
Water, sewer.
allocation, whatever. Maybe if a vendor has a picnic table, they might have to pay a water and sewer thing. I
They're
don't
not
know.
using water. and
Yeah, I don't have-
Isn't that falling under the
No.
landlord's
That's the
building?
owner.
rest,
That's the owner.
right?
The owner's building.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, but the owner's
paying-
not-
They're paying for
No, they're not.
hookups. They're not?
If you have,
Self-contained.
Maybe electricity.
if you have Friends of Sun, who's not a restaurant, that's where this is on their property.
The trucks are self-contained. They have their own water.
But whose property is the
Friends of the Sun.
Sun? So they're not a restaurant. And they have seats from a food vendor. I'm just trying to think to make it an even playing field for the restaurants.
Well, I mean, just the way to look at it is how much water allocation and sewer allocation are those places allowed? I mean, what are they paying for? 5 people, 10
Yeah,
people?
yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's, because you're
Yeah.
doing that for the restaurant. You've
Right.
already established that at the restaurant level. Maybe it has to be done at the property owner level. I mean, if it's a 5 occupancy building, I'm assuming minimum you're probably gonna have is an allocation for 5. I would think.
I don't know.
That sounds like it's getting a little complicated.
It
little
is, I
complicated.
mean,
So I don't think you're ever going to establish a parity between the bricks and mortar cost of operation
Right.
and the vendor. I think it's, if we simplify it, just say no seating is the expectation. I don't know, you're going to take the food, you're going to carry it, you're going to eat it in your car or your truck, or you're taking it off-site. We're not encouraging them to eat it on-site. Because that, again, that creates other issues, refuse, that type of thing. I don't know. I don't have the answers.
yeah, but in getting to that, I would still, so if that were the case, then there would be no need for them to have rubbish removal, a garbage can there, which I completely disagree. They gotta have something.
Right.
But if you're saying that they're gonna eat it off-site, then there's no need for a garbage can.
No, I wasn't arguing the garbage can bit.
No, I understand, but I'm just kind of playing it out. we're gonna say that there's no seating and they're not gonna be eating there, rather eating in their car.
Well, some people don't. I'll walk around with a hot dog.
Well, so will I. I mean, but the thing is that you.
I don't have to
but
sit
you
down
might
and eat.
not, you know,
Whatever. It's,
I don't know.
We're
It's
gonna,
difficult.
we're gonna sneak up on this one. We're not gonna solve this from the first.
No.
Right.
Right?
Right.
well, these are things we can all think about.
Yeah.
We're gonna sleep tonight. We can dream about it, you know?
You know,
All right.
But, cool.
So these recommendations go to the select board for the next meeting. They make the final determination.
Mhm.
These are just advisory.
what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get busy on the minutes for this and I'm gonna type them up, get them out to you.
Good luck.
Give it a look, see what you think, make sure I covered everything.
Okay,
With the help of my able-bodied assistant here.
well
Do
rested.
our best.
Okay,
Good, great.
Sounds good. Get out of here.
all right.
That wasn't too bad, right?
Oh, pretty good.
Recording?
In recording.
Recording stopped.
There's no other business?
Make a motion to close then?
There was one other thing. Sammy's Pizzeria wants to do the same thing they did last time. We gave them a temporary permit.
Yeah.
I did it administratively, but we do have findings for it that says he needs to meet these certain things.
Okay,
Is the board willing to go along with that, give him another temporary administratively for this year? Or is that something you want to bring him back in?
is
And,
this for the outside seating?
yeah, the out seating.
I'm just trying to remember the details. Weren't they movable enter boxes?
Right. Yeah, they
The
take
diff, right?
3 parking
The
spaces,
parking
I
space?
believe.
I don't know. What do you guys?
What did and the 3 parking spaces they took up, did that,
It's right in front of the restaurant, right?
but did they have enough, is there enough parking in that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, Frank Parent.
Oh, that's right. He wanted to build something out back where there's grassy
I
area.
didn't get to it.
Why does that not surprise me? Well, I think the reason if I remember, the Reed gave him a temporary one